Welcome back to our Saving the California Dream special with our guest CEOs and series producer Heidi Cuda. Some of California's political leaders are getting the word out that something's got to give for our state to thrive again.
Yeah, among the politicians that I spoke to, at least these guys seem to actually be getting it, but you know, we'll see.
Between 1950 and 1980, we cleaned everybody's clock. We grew at 3.7%. But from 1980 to 2010, we flatlined to about 1.1%. One thing I know is if I'm not casing someone else's joint, they're casing mine. These other states are in the game in ways we could never have imagined. We've got to get back in the business of building things and creating things. There are ways that we can organize and streamline regulation without getting rid of regulation.
It is not that anybody said, let's go out and kill businesses, but little by little, nobody noticed why the businesses were slowly eroding away. We have to change the culture from a culture that rewards bureaucrats for finding violations and fines to a culture that rewards them for every business they get open.
It's ABC, anywhere but California. That's the slogan for businesses. We can't win this fight alone. The people of California, I believe, are going to rise up now more than ever before. 2012 is going to be a defining year for our state, and I believe we can take the state back. So I'm pretty hopeful.
You cannot be pro-job and anti-business. If you believe in job creation, if you want to get those 2.157 million people back to work, you've got to embrace that entrepreneurial spirit of the private sector, support the small businessmen and women that are out there every day putting everything on the line.
All right, let's back up what they're saying with more tough stats. For a decade, California was at the top of the country in new business creation, but we dropped down to 50th last year. 82% of the execs say if they weren't already in California, they wouldn't start a business here. Regulations are costing California businesses nearly $500 billion, much of that falling on the shoulders of small business, and they can hardly afford to do that. Our
right.
series producer Heidi Cuda and our CEOs Brian Lee and Robert Parker join us now. All right, so the political climate in California, I mean, Jerry Brown is governor again, and he's having a tough time dealing with this legislature, which, of course, has been severely criticized for their lack of action on the budget. And as far as businessmen are concerned, how has it impacted you, Brian?
For us, you know, it's impacted us tremendously. I think, as all the politicians will tell you, there's just too much big government spending and not spending smartly, right? And as a small business owner myself, and you know, you got to run California like a business, which they're not doing.
That'll be the day.
Right? That will be the day.
I'd love to see that happen. That's what we need. Everyone's kind of waiting for a superhero to come in and fix California, but there's no one in sight, which is why you left.
Yeah, one of the key reasons I left, you know, I always say I'd love to put a politician on the firing line and make them make payroll. One of the things that, you know, at the end of the day, 15th and 30th comes quick, and we have to make payroll. And that is something that I think that these politicians, they have a lot of words, but that we need some actions, and we need some actions to support small business.
Heidi, you said something when we began about disconnect. Tell me just quickly about that.
You know what, when I first started the series, I just thought that maybe there was an arrogance in Sacramento. Maybe these politicians just thought, well, California's so great, because it is, that we can just keep on piling on and they'll deal with it. But the truth is, I think there's an ignorance. What he said, if you haven't gone to bed on a Friday sweating payroll for a Monday, you're not going to understand what the guys who sign the front of the checks are going through.
You can't sell sunshine anymore. You got to help them out. Yeah.
No.
All right, so we'll take a look at what innovations are coming up. Next, we'll take you upstate to Siskiyou County, LA's 5th largest county. Its residents tell us they're under siege from government regulations.
Many of our governmental officials are more concerned about fish, plants, birds, and frogs than they are about the people they serve. And that's the bottom line.